Welcome everyone to Talks with Me, a podcast, entertainment edition. This is the only podcast that gives you the journey on how to become the next media mogul with weekly interviews from the biggest game changers in the media industry. Today we have a really special guest. Iris Olivia is in the building. You may have seen her on runways like BET's Rip the Runway or Runway. You may have seen her in commercials for Lancome and Allure. You might even recognize her from one of my favorite reality TV shows, Married at First Sight. And she's currently a model, a coach, a speaker, mentor, and influencer. So let's get into this conversation. Welcome, Iris.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
It's funny because it's just been such a long time since like we've talked, and like I know so much has changed for both of our lives. So we like met originally in North Carolina when we both used to model down in North Carolina, trying to figure out what modeling in North Carolina even looked like.
What is it to this day still? What is it? Like
And then you moved to New York. I also moved to New York, and you were in Brooklyn going to school. And so I always love to start the interviews off with like the question of how long has the journey been? How many years has it taken for you to get here?
yes, it's been a lot, y'all, to say the least. And I will definitely say, like, just from jump, it is something like even just in high school, like I knew a lot of people, right? I was like, yeah, that's my friend, it's friend. I don't know who you are, but I know you're my friend. So just knew a lot of people. And I will definitely say that like that's the basis of everything is just knowing
Mhm.
people, right? Knowing whether it's like networking or somebody's parents or somebody's friend or even connecting through someone through LinkedIn, like whatever it may be, like use that opportunity for what it's worth. And like right now, we
Mhm.
can say that we know each other through X, Y, and Z, right? And then we also know mutual friends and so on and so forth. But so after I graduated from high school, I first went to Florida A&M. So I'm still a Rattler.
Oh, okay.
I'm my HBCU life. I loved it. And funny thing, because this was just posted on a social media site recently about how two America's Next Top Models were like, we're gonna get in here either way. Like we're gonna find our way into
Oh
top model.
yeah, I saw that interview with Eva and Takara. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I had made my own comment and I had said, and this is a very true statement, when I was at Florida A&M, they came to Tallahassee, Florida and did an audition there. And I auditioned. I apparently did great. Like I went to the next level, right? They asked me to do whatever kind of Zoom or Skype interview at that time. And I was like, perfect, I'll do that. Logged in. It was great. I think I had to do through another interview with another person. So at this point, I had
Mhm.
gone through like 3 different interviews. I'd only went through one semester of college at that point, which was summer semester, which is kind of like you just kind of do whatever during summer. It was fall. It was my second semester. I was so excited to be at FAMU. And they told me, I was only like, what, maybe 2 months in or a few months in. They're like, hey, we love you. We want you to be on the show. We're going to send you your flight next. Like, just stay tuned for your flight. However, you need to figure out school, like, because you're going to be gone for a couple
Mhm.
months. Like, what are you going to do? It's going to be in LA, whatever. I was like, okay, bet. I asked all of my teachers, like all of my professors, hey, I have a really great opportunity to be on a TV show. I really want to do it. I really want to model. Like, can this be like, can I do stuff online? Every professor, all of them said yes, but one. And that one said, no,
Uh,
you got to drop out. And I could not drop out. Like if I dropped that class, I would no longer be a full-time student. I could not reorganize anything else. So I had to literally drop out of Florida A&M on a Women of Prayer for this TV show. I had to call back and tell them, hey, unfortunately, I had to drop out of school because they wouldn't let me leave. So, like,
yeah.
I'm in it. Just send me the ticket. They never sent it. They ghosted me. I didn't hear anything for months. And then they announced next season. I was like, well, clearly, like, that was the season I was supposed to be on. I had to move
Oh
back
my gosh.
to North Carolina and enroll in another college there. And that is what honestly propelled me to even go to New York because I was like, if I can do that and just get that far, why not go ahead and do that in New York? And so I did my
Mhm.
thing there and did all that great stuff. And so it just shows you like whatever avenue may have closed, whatever door may not be open, whatever door may be locked for you, there's several other doors open and that locked or closed door may lead you to somewhere else that's even better than what you thought or imagined for yourself. So try all them doors, okay? Because one is open.
Yes, yes, so true, so true. So I know even recently you were in Netflix's Falling for Christmas, which had Lindsay Lohan. It featured her. It was like her comeback movie.
Mhm.
Let's talk about like how that happened and how we got from modeling in Brooklyn to like acting and being in movies.
Yes, I have always been like in the acting realm, like theater geek, the whole nine yards. Like I've always just really liked it and enjoyed acting. I've never been the best person for memorizing my lines, but let me tell you, that's one thing that has honestly stopped me from doing more auditions and more roles. Is because I'm like, I got to memorize more than this many lines. I don't know, my brain is really clicking. And so I have just said, okay, hey, shoot, shot in the dark, let's just try it. So when my agent had sent that, I was like, well, I don't really know. Like, it's just a few lines. Let me just try it. Like, I should be totally fine. I had no idea what it was. It didn't tell me really what it was. At that time, they had the name of the show was something completely different. So I had no idea what I was auditioning for.
Mhm.
I said, great, let's try it. And I did it. I didn't hear back for like months. And again, I was like, someone else ghosted me. My life is just reoccurring. And so I had said, whatever, just move on, call it a day. My agent had got back with me. They're like, hey, you made the audition. Like they want you. Like there was no secondary. They're like, you made that role. Like you're it. And I was like, say what? And they're like, yeah, it's in Salt Lake City. And I'm like, Salt Lake City, I gotta travel where? And so I was like, well, let's just go ahead and do it. And they didn't tell me, I didn't know who it was with. Like I had no idea until I stepped foot on in Utah that it was Lindsay Lohan's movie. And I was like, this is how y'all got me. This is how y'all got me. So again, just trusting the process and allow
Yeah.
just go wherever it's supposed to go, audition for it, do it. If you say if it's a no, then it's a no. Something else is always a yes. But I will always say, always do it because I would hate, and I still feel like there are some things that I'm like, if I never would have tried it, or the what if, you don't want to link with that what if on an opportunity that big or that small or something that could have been even bigger than what you thought it was. So that's kind of how that led me. I'm still like, hey, I'll take some more roles. Let's see how it goes and stop being scared of just because I can't memorize something or I'm not good at something to not try it and just saying,
Yeah.
send it to me. I'll do my best and we'll see what happens there. Because again, it's your perception of what you think it is, but in reality, it could be something completely different. So they could feed me the lines each section and I could just be like, bam, 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 knock it out. Who knows? But again, if I never try, I will never know.
Exactly. So, okay. So, did your agent also send you Married at First Sight? Like, or was this a decision where you're like,
Totally different. Married at First Sight was years before I even had got the Lindsay Lohan thing, or even before I had even
mm,
signed to that agency. I wasn't even with that agency at that time. I was signed to an agency in North Carolina that strictly did modeling. That's it. When it comes to Married at First Sight, I've been watching that show since season one with my mom, like literally watching it. Like that's my show where I go to. I told her if they ever come to Charlotte, I am going to apply. If I'm still single, which is likely, I'm going to go ahead and apply. And so I applied when it came. I had filled it out. This was like in December or something, or like of like 2018 or so, like long ago. And I filled everything out, got a call back, went to auditions, and which was great and all. I was like really just being myself, and that's kind of how I got in there because it's gonna hurt. I will say this: if you ever go on reality TV, not being yourself, you got to keep up that whole perception the whole time.
yes, which is exhausting.
Right. And I've seen that, and I don't know how they did that. And of course, it did not turn out well for others. However, for myself, I was me the entire time. Like, it is what it is. And so within that, I just had a fun time. And I went on there just literally arms open, wide, wanting whatever was supposed to come for me. And it just didn't happen. It just was not. And
Mhm.
that's just how the cookie crumbled. You know, the cookie was not for me. Maybe it was chocolate chip. I don't like chocolate chip. It's what it is. However, everything happens for a reason. Because again, when one door is closed or does not work, there are always more doors open. And voila, I am now engaged. And so with someone, of course, different. But the whole thing is, again, I never would have experienced that or known what I did not want if I did not have gone through that experience overall. So I'm just blessed of how it turned out, what happened, my role I played in it, and the road is completely different now.
Yeah, I feel like that's the main thing with dating and relationships. You're supposed to test things out, see what you like, see what you don't like, and every situation gets better and better.
Mm-hmm.
So, even with Married at First Sight, like I know you went on there with the intentions of finding love, but did you ever have intentions that it would like help build out your career? Was that ever a thought for you getting on television?
Not necessarily. At that point in time, I was solely on there. I was like, I'm here to find whatever God puts in my place. Like whatever
Mhm.
comes after it. But during that soul time, I'm just here to be a part of this process and see what grows from there. I think that's a mistake of a lot of people that go on reality TV. They're looking for the post show stuff. However, during the show can affect that post show. So if you don't go in there again with you
Mm-hmm.
intentions, then of course the outcome is going to be something that you of course didn't want. But I feel like if you go in there with raw intentions and really try and really do your best in whatever it is, whether it's a competition show, a cooking show, a reality show of love and dating, whatever it is, go in there with your authentic self and try your hardest to be you, and the outcome is going to be in your favor. I think a lot of us, especially people on my show and my season, were on there with different intentions, and look how it turned out for them, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is for everyone. However, I went on there just wanting some love and seeing what happens. And I didn't get that, but I got so much more stuff out of that than I could imagine, rather than having what that was supposed to come the outcome for.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit more. How did Married at First Sight like help your career afterwards? Like, was it easier for you to find an agent, get modeling gigs? I'm assuming like tap into other industries.
Yeah. So I will definitely say Married at First Sight does not necessarily get me more acting gigs. I will not say that,
Mm-hmm.
because again, I'm a face of a reality show that happened to be love, and the outcome wasn't the best outcome, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes people look at that as a liability when they're like, hey, like her face is known for this. Like, do we really want to have her on here? Who knows if that contributed to me getting roles or not getting roles? I have no
Mm-hmm.
idea, you know? Within the, because sometimes when you get a role, they also ask for Instagram. And of course, now they're seeing my Instagram page and seeing all this, they're like, I don't know. Because if, you know, if you're looking for a role for something that you want to be completely different, maybe the person they are through social media or whatever their previous stuff is, or their bookings may not be the kind of role or person you're looking for, you know, and again, to each its own.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are some things, especially within the modeling industry, that have absolutely helped me out within that, because I am a known face. So now I'm now having my modeling career with whatever this, project may be, and now I'm an influencer of that too, you know what I mean? So like now it's hit all three spots, which is great. And in other terms, some people may think it's not. Again, to each its own. You had to figure out what path works best, and only you can really determine that. But it has been some great outcomes because of that, especially in the influencer space, which has been amazing. I never would have been able to travel to some of these places or go to these places if it wasn't for that. So I'm very, very blessed. I will definitely say use everything to your advantage. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
if the show has utilized you in this way, you have all rights and purposes to utilize the show in that kind of way for whatever personal gain you're looking at doing. If you want to be a cook and you're on a cooking show, of course, you go and now have that TikTok or that Instagram page about cooking and about your whatever you went through for the show. So again, utilize that to your best advantage as well.
So for someone that is trying to figure out how to be an influencer, obviously you had the show to kind of like bring in people and viewers and audience, but like what did that first year or two look like for you becoming an influencer? Like what does it really take to become one? And then how profitable is it?
Yeah. So a lot of people from my show or other reality shows, they want to go into influencing right away, right? Because we had this following, we had this group of people who love us from the show, our haters from the show, and they're now watching every move we make. And so some
Mm-hmm.
people really were like, yeah, I'm utilizing this. Some people crumbled. Some people were like, this is not for me. Like, I can't post every day, or I can't make this content, or I'm not creative, or I don't feel compelled, which is fine. They found other avenues that worked out for them. However, for me, I'm a creative. So I find every way to be like, yeah, sure, let's try it. Let's do this cool transition. Let's put together these two outfits. Let's do this and that. Like all that was already swimming in my head, regardless, because I'm a creative person. So now putting that on a creative platform was even fun for me too to do, because I was like, I can edit, I can do this, I can do that, all these great things I was thinking of. And then not only that, but like looking at the products I have in my house. That's the first thing I would say if you're going to do or try influencing. Look at the products you have in your house, do reviews of them, talk about your first impressions, do an unboxing, start from somewhere, start with the stuff you already have and you already love and enjoy, because that's the organic way to grow, is you're showing your audience what you
Mm-hmm.
already utilize. And now you're showing the brand that I already use you too, you know? So you're utilizing both of those things, and just make it creative. Like, what can you add different, or what can you do differently in this to make people want to stay and watch for more than 3 seconds or 5 seconds or 15? Like, what of your personality can you sprinkle in there to kind of get people to be latched on for you to continue to watch that video and watch more videos that are coming?
Mm-hmm. So, do you mind talking a little bit about the money aspect? Because, you know, like there are so many stories where content creators do not get paid their worth. And so, I don't know if you've experienced this, or maybe because you've had a certain amount of followers, it hasn't affected you as much. But do you mind talking about that experience a little bit?
Yeah, I'll talk about it. It's Black History Month. I'm talking about it. So in that, Perfect example is what we see right now in the month of February, these 29 days, some years, 28 days. You know what I mean? We're seeing that these corporate organizations, our companies are like, hey, it's Black History Month. You a Black creator. Let's do it. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What about this other month? What about June? What about April? You know what I mean? What about December? Like, why are we only utilizing these Black creators, our creators of color during the month that represents that color? Like, make it make sense, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think it's just us really advocating for ourselves and saying, hey, let's make this. And what my agency and what I have told them that I want to start doing is, hey, if we're doing a partnership for the month of February, Black History Month, then now I want to make sure I'm working with you for this other part of the year, for this part, or for this campaign going forward. Like, I'm not going to just sign with you because you want to show my Afro kinky hair in this, you know, whatever style, you know, just because of that. Like, let's talk about how we can utilize that for the summer, for the spring, for the winter. Like, let's continue that conversation and show that your brand, your organization is not just working with me because of the color of my skin, which is great because we know about affirmative action. My mom was a huge monumental part of affirmative action with being a news reporter in an all white area, right? However, it's still the fact of we still are given these opportunities, but let's make sure we're continuing these opportunities for not just the rest of us, but for others. So when it comes to funds, you are seeing a couple of different things. I know a few creators that sometimes they'll say, hey, we'll reach out to each other. What did you make on this? Or what did you make on that? Sometimes we're not open. Sometimes we are open. Sometimes people on platforms share what they made from this month to this month to this month, which is cool and all. However, there's not a real way to break down, you made this much exactly from Samsung. You made this much exactly from West Elm. You made this much exactly from wherever. You're looking at the lump sum of that month of what they made. You know what I mean? And so a lot of the times you're not quite sure the breakdown of that. But what you can guarantee is that your rates stay your rates. Like, if you're saying that I am going to get paid $800 for this reel or for this post, I'm going to get paid $2,000 for this this X amount of second video, stick to those rates. Just because they're a large company does not mean that they are going to reduce their rates, or they do have reduced rates because they're a large company. You're like, you know what, because they're this and that company, I'll take the cut. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Don't. Because they are that large company, they can pay your rates. You know what I mean? And if it's a smaller company, what I like to do too, there are smaller companies that are just getting off that I really, really love, that may be a skincare company, right? That may not have the many followers. I don't mind cutting them a break, right? Because they're actually trying, they're doing something. I enjoy working with them as well. And they're great brands in general. So of course that, but just because a larger brand that has a larger name is giving you an X amount of money that you think is lower, but you're taking it because of the name, they can pay you. Negotiate for yourself, or have your manager or your agency negotiate for you. And hopefully that'll be able to outcome say, hey, she's working on tons of different projects right now. We can fit you in with this rate or whatever it may be. So again, tailoring your message to make sure that you're not getting undercut or underpaid for something that you know you're worth, or you're going to put more energy in because they're a bigger brand and you get paid half you would for something else. Don't do that.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's really great advice. I don't know if you specifically know this might be something your manager would know more of, but I know from my experience working with digital magazines, specifically with the social media team, like, we're reaching out to you guys like, hey, can you do this for this magazine? But we never have a budget. You know what I'm saying? So is it like, should influencers be reaching out to the branded side of the company? Should they be reaching out to the marketing side of the company? Because I know if you just hit up the social media person, they don't really have a budget for you. So I don't know if you've ever experienced that, or if you even know like that process. Maybe that's something your agent would know.
Well, see,
I'm curious.
I love my agency. I love my agent. Like, she sees me on everything. So I see everything. And when it comes to that, even when I was doing this myself, when I was just starting out and I just got all these followers, I didn't have anybody. Like, I was doing it myself. Me and my friend were doing it, right? Because she worked in social media. I was like, girl, can you help me out a little bit? But really, essentially, it was just us trying to kick it and figure out what we're doing. And within that, it really is about getting whether an influx of people from an agency or from a marketing firm or from the actual brand. Like, if you sit here and see like info@brand.com, you know you're going to a general inbox, right? But if you see Melanie@brand.com, that's going to Melanie, like that's going to that girl, you know? So having a name attached to that, I think really gets you a little bit further. And also too, one thing I want everybody to think of, if they're going to an agency, right? Because we know if we were to DM a brand and they get back with us and they say, hey, yeah, info@ da-da-da-da, or fill out this type form, or whatever, it may go into infinity and beyond and never hear back. However, do some research. Like look at that brand, go on their website, figure out who they are, because a lot of the times that company or that brand may be managed by a larger agency that has 15 different brands along with them, right? So reaching out to the brand is cool enough, but reaching out to the agency they are part of is even better. And then utilizing that to your advantage. If you know that Melanie at whatever agency, they manage 15 different brands all within skincare, fashion, or whatever, also ask her, hi, are there any brands that you also work with that I could fit into? Don't limit yourself to that one brand that you're reaching out for. Ask her, are there other brands that you are working with that I could fit into? Because she could be like, yeah, sure, you fit into one brand, but not really looking at you, or she may not be the actual agent for the rest of the brands, but that agency has all these brands underneath it, and she could forward your information to someone who does work with a brand in the agency that you could fit better with. So don't limit yourself to that one thing or that one area. Go for gold, go for it all. But reaching out to an agent versus an agency, again, you're looking to see who is the main person of contact you need to reach out to get that contact and talk to the person directly.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that is so good. So I want to get into our next segment, which is how I do it segment. So I would love to know, when it comes to you and finding more opportunities, which you kind of broke down a little bit as a model, how do you do it? Is it solely through your agent? Do you scout on your own? And if you don't mind talking a little bit about how that process has changed from like your early career to what you do now.
Yeah. So how I do it, I am one, and my agent loves this. We have done this for a while now. I'm gonna do my due diligence. I will reach out. I will research. I will find. I don't just leave it to my agency to do. Yes, that's their job. However, I do my own research as well. If that's reaching out in DMs to an agent, I mean to a brand, and I'm like, hey, I love y'all. If it's tagging them in whatever I do, if it's going on their social media or going on wherever to look up who the agent is or the agency is and finding that, I do that. I 100% do. And I will sit here, they'll respond back to me. Hopefully I screenshot it and then send it to my agent. Say, hey, here you go. There it is. Yeah, I'm jump shot, alley-oop. Like, it's us together. So I'm setting up that jump shot and I need them to follow through. If you're doing it yourself, then you are doing that all yourself, of course. However, I personally will reach out, and I've always done that. I can go through all my DMs, and most of the brands that I work with or have worked with have really been because I've reached out. If not, they come directly through the agency or through a portal or whatever it is. But a lot of them have been me just solely being like, hey, I love your products. I want to work with you. I love this and that serum. Let's talk about this. Let's do this and that. And doing it from there, honestly, because no one's going to do it better than yourself, and then having that brand see you personally reaching out, you personally talking about this specific product is even better than just a company reaching out with a long slew of who you are. So adding that personal touch is always going to matter a lot more.
Yeah, I think that's so important, because I agree. I do get emails where it's like the agent will reach out and I'm just like, I don't really know who this person is. I don't really have time to read this pages about her. So, no, I love that personal touch. So recently you signed with G&D Digital Management. So I would love to know, like, what does digital management look like and how are you expecting them to help build your career a little bit more?
Yes. Well, I will say I absolutely love what they do when it comes to working with their creators, is that we actually have like monthly calls where we talk or strategize, whether it's someone coming in and talking to us about what they have done, whether it's an actual like person of a brand talking about what they suggest us do, whether it's like reward style team coming in and talking to us about what we should be doing to get more views on our stuff. Like they actually educate us. And that's what I'm really excited about for an agency to do, and to digitally think about how they can not just be like, hey, we send a couple emails out, but how can you as a content creator do better as well with your content? We can do what we can do and push you out, right? But you're the creator. And what can you do to make sure you're continuing to create great stuff to continue for your brand and what you're doing to surpass what you're doing right now? And so I love that about them, is that they're always educating us. I've learned so much in these past like month or so, just like what to do that I never would have known, because no one ever taught me, like I've never had an educational sit down, round table chit chat about my posting schedule. Or if there's someone saying that, hey, if you're posting this, the different tagging mechanisms, all that kind of stuff, really just knowing more information about how I can be doing better with my stuff versus just willy-nilly posting and calling it a day. So I will definitely give them props for that. And like I said, we're a team. Like I reach out, they reach out, we alley-oop together and score. And if you don't have a team, or if you're looking for a team, or you're doing it solely by yourself, you're a one-man band, do what you got to do. Just know that like, if you got to have that info, if you want to create your own email address too, that says like, hello at your brand, do that. So you're not emailing them from Josephine so-and-so-and-so.com, like do it, make it look professional, make you and your company, your entity look like it's a full-blown thing. So when you're emailing these people, it looks professional, it looks good. It looks like it's coming from an agency or an agent, but really it's coming from you and you one person band and you doing it yourself.
Yeah. So for you, I would love to get into our next segment, which is biggest boss moves. So
Okay.
what would you say has been your biggest boss move so far in your career?
Ooh, biggest boss move. That's a great question, because I feel like the biggest boss move would probably would have been being on BET with the Runway. Like that was my first jump start to whatever. And I'll tell you this kind of gets into the America's Next Top Model situation. I went to the audition, right? Made audition in North Carolina, then went to New York, right? Where they send you up, you go in front of whatever person's supposed to be kind of booking you or looking at you for walking in their show. I only was supposed to go to one. I went to every single one of them. Like I stood in line right behind each model. I got in line, I stood there, and that's how I got on almost every single like designer's runway. Like I was one of the models that was on every single one of them because I went and stood in line and made sure you see me. Like, and at one time I got in trouble because they were like, "Why are you changing so fast?" I'm like, "Because I got two other ones to do." They said, "You're only supposed to be in one." And I said, "So I booked most of them and gotta go." Like, and just went kept opening for one that had like Rick Ross and Meek Mill in there. Like I was the opening person for that. Like what? And it was only because I walked in there and said, "Yeah, I'm auditioning," like, and just changed my hair into here every time. So they wasn't on the same person, but my name tags is the same thing. But yeah, big boss move. Do what you got to do. Do what you.
I love that. So let's get into our last segment, which is I'll ask you three questions and you can just give me, how you feel. So the three questions are, what do you regret? What do you hope for? And what do you want to manifest and receive? So for you, what's something that you regret?
One thing I regret is not being more honest on the TV show. I was definitely more so of like, Black love, protect this, all that kind of stuff. However, I feel like I should have been a lot more honest and aware of like what was going on. But again, I don't regret anything. It's just if I were to do it again, I would flat out say how I'm feeling a lot of the times versus keeping it kind of inside. And what was the other one?
What do you hope for?
Oh, I hope to continue the path I'm on, but I hope to inspire people. Like I always said that if I'm working with an organization or a company or a brand, I want to have some type of nonprofit arm to it. Like I want to be able to give back or do a giveaway. If I'm working with a cruise line, I want to go back and do it again, but give free tickets away. You know what I mean? So like I would want to inspire people to do better for themselves and the people around them. And then the last one
is, what do you want to manifest and receive?
What I want to manifest and receive. Ooh, I want to manifest blessings on blessings on blessings. No, I want a surrounding of the people who are around me for them to also do good, like for them to also do better. So like if you're watching or you're seeing what I'm doing, that you see that and you're like, what can I be doing to help someone else? Like end of the day, I've always worked in nonprofit, currently work in nonprofit, and I'm always in for helping the next person, right? So if I'm able to show you guys doing something good, that I did something good, I hope that you can pass it along and manifest the great things that you could be doing all while helping someone. Like, and with me working in mentorship, I always say it only takes one. It takes one person to do something good, right? It takes one person to mentor a child. It takes one person to pay for someone else's meal. And just hoping that that gets manifested onto somebody else and you're doing something good for a trickle down theory of tons more people. Like that's what I want to happen just because of one good thing that I did.
Yeah, I love that. So thank you so much, Iris, for coming on. I feel like you gave so many great tidbits of information, and I feel like it will definitely, some sprinkles. I feel like it will definitely help someone else on their journey. So thank you so much. And if you want to know more about Iris, of course, you can see all of her information in our show description and follow her on Instagram. all the social medias, the TikToks and whatnot, and check out her website. Her website's really nice, actually.